Working fast food, arguably one of the worst things that almost everybody has to experience. Now I think that a decent amount of people watching this video have probably worked fast food at least once in their life. I remember my first time ever working for a fast food restaurant was the summer of my sophomore year in high school when I was around 16. Now the reasoning for this was because I was a broke ass teen just trying to get his bread up. Now the way I saw it, I had three options: scam, sell drugs, or get a job. Now while the first two options seem extremely enticing, because I am a man of such morals and I'm not trying to go to jail anytime soon, I picked the third option. And of course at the time the only types of jobs available for someone my age were fast food jobs: McDonald's, Burger King, or Wendy's. And I ended up getting a job at the most godforsaken fast food restaurant there is, McDonald's. A decision that I still regret to this day. Like, imagine having to wake up at 10 in the morning and having to throw on this goofy ass uniform to work in a building that smells like french fries, must, and weed. Today we're going to talk about the modern day slavery and depressing jobs known as fast food. First, let's talk about the different types of annoying customers. For one, you got the Karens. Now if you ever worked any type of public service job for a decent period of time, then you've probably had to deal with these types of customers at least once or twice. These were the customers that would bitch and complain about everything. You had to make sure whenever you serve these types of customers that you got their order 100% right and absolutely zero errors, because these were the customers that would threaten to get you fired over the smallest of things. I swear it was as if these people had absolutely nothing better to do with their lives, so they decided to spend their day being an absolute nuisance to society and being a menace to anyone they saw. I'm talking one time a lady complained to my manager and threatened to get me fired once because I forgot to give her ketchup with her nuggets. Now granted, we all know how annoying and frustrating it is when your order gets messed up, but imagine being so petty that you complain to my manager about some ketchup packets. Now imagine your job being threatened all over some cheap ass tomato sauce packets. This was a common occurrence for me while working fast food, and it felt like these types of customers will always be wrinkly old ladies. Like, ma'am, you only have 2 more weeks to live. Go and enjoy them and stop being a dickhead to me for no reason. You also had the rude customers. You know, the customers that used to always talk crazy and just be a complete asshole for no reason at all. These were the customers that would treat the workers as if they were trash. You could tell these were the guys that got bullied in high school, so now they think it's okay to be an asshole to everyone else. Like, it's not my fault you're a loser who lives a miserable life. They will always be extremely disrespectful and acted as if because you were a fast food worker that you didn't deserve to be treated with respect. Like, you sons of bitches were lucky I was broke and had no money, because if I didn't care about this job, y'all would all be done for. I'm walking in the building with the bazooka strapped to my back and letting y'all all have it. I'm tired of being disrespected and humiliated. If you were someone who acted like a dickhead to minimum wage workers, hope you all burn in the depths of hell. Kidding. I'm just kidding, of course. But seriously, try to never be this type of customer. Just because someone works a certain job doesn't mean they're less of a person. Overall, just try not to be either of these types of customers. Next, we got the manager. Now, for those of you who don't know what the manager is, it's basically the person in charge of supervising everyone. They're pretty much your boss that tells you what to do and when to do it. Now, the reason I always hated the managers in fast food is simply because of the amount of power they had over us. Meaning that whenever you got a job, you would have to pray that your manager wasn't an egotistical fuck and was a chill, understanding person, or else you were going to be stuck with an asshole for a boss telling you what to do all day. It also sucked because no matter how much of a prick the manager was, you always had to do what they said and treat them with respect, simply because you knew they had the power to fire you or make you do all the annoying tasks that no one else wants to do. Luckily, my manager was pretty chill, but I've heard horror stories of people having to deal with the worst of the worst managers, forcing them to work overtime, cutting their paycheck short, and forcing them to clean the dreaded bathrooms. A sentence worse than death itself. Overall, when working at any fast food job, you had to pray that your manager was a decent human being. Now let's talk about the pay. That sweet paycheck, aka the only reason why I got this dumbass job in the first place. Now, for those of you who don't know, fast food has some of the worst pay. I remember when I was working fast food, I was making $11 an hour and about $200 a week, meaning I was barely making enough money to afford a pair of Jordans a week. Now, granted, when you think about it, being 16 making $200 a week doesn't sound that bad, unless you were like me and had to pay your own phone bill, buy your own clothes, and pay for your own gas. And let's not even talk about when they took taxes. All of a sudden, that $200 ain't looking like shit no more. Once I was done paying off all the things I need to pay off, I was barely looking at $100 a week, maybe $400 to $500 a month, only about half of what I was originally supposed to make. Do you know the absolute despair one feels seeing practically half of their hard-earned money be burnt away like that? Working fast food really made me realize why so many people end up becoming professional thugs for a living. This 9 to 5 and trying to earn an honest living the legal way ain't it, chief. With every passing day, those how to make 10K in a week videos looked more and more appealing. Overall, I think it's fair to say the pay you got working in fast food was dog shit. You'd probably make more just stealing from your local wishing fountain or some shit. Now let's talk about your coworkers. Now, working fast food, there was a good chance that you would have at least one of these types of coworkers. For one, you got the weed head. This was the guy that comes to work high out of his mind and ready to do absolutely nothing. They come in, their eyes are basically bloodshot red. They used to walk in the building reeking of nothing but good kush and the shirt that hadn't been washed in 2 weeks. And I always found it funny when these types of coworkers used to try and act as if they weren't on cloud 9. The manager would walk up to them to talk to them about what they need to do, and you'd immediately see them turn into the most diligent worker. All in all though, the weed head was usually always a pretty cool and chill dude to work with. Next, you got the nasty coworker. This was the guy that had terrible hygiene and couldn't care less about his cleanliness, and I never understood why it seemed like these were the guys that would always be tasked with making the actual food, meaning that the dirtiest, most unsanitary nigga is the one touching the burgers, fries, milkshakes, you name it. Like, just imagine a nigga sneezing in his hand, wiping it on his shirt, and then proceeding to use that same hand to make your Big Mac. That was the type of shit that this dirty ass nigga would do constantly. If you've ever eaten McDonald's and immediately gotten sick afterwards, you can thank this nigga. I'm not even gonna lie to you though, seeing how easy it was for people like this to basically contaminate all the food is why to this day I very rarely, if ever, eat fast food. Next, you got the fighter. This was a coworker that didn't take nothing from the customers. They were constantly on BT and ready to put anybody in a spliff. I remember I had a coworker who ended up getting fired because she socked the shit out of this one customer in the mouth for talking crazy. Now, while on the Koff channel, we obviously will never condone violence on anyone, as someone who used to get disrespected by customers on a daily basis, it does feel good getting some poetic justice on those stuck-up assholes. And lastly, you got the fuck-up. The fuck-up was the guy that pretty much always looked lost and had absolutely no ability to do anything right. They were always messing something up, breaking something, or just doing something the incorrect way. If he was supposed to wash the dishes, he'd end up breaking the dishes. If they were supposed to sweep the floors, they'd end up breaking something. If they were supposed to work the cash register, they'd always end up giving the person the wrong amount of money back. It's pretty safe to say that the fuck-up coworker was easily the most useless out of all the employees, and it was a miracle if they kept their job for longer than 2 weeks. It's safe to say that the fuck-up was the one worker you would never want to be. As I think you can all tell by now, the fast food experience was a pretty depressing one. If I had to rate it 1 out of 10, I'd give it a -2, and that's me being nice. I personally would recommend that you should never get a job working fast food. Other than work experience, you gain nothing but PTSD and a hatred for the smell of french fries. To this day, I still wake up in cold sweats dreaming about the time I worked at McDonald's. Honestly, now that I think about it, I might need to go to therapy. But if you really want money, you'd honestly be better off just begging for money on the side of the road, or just straight up scamming. Speaking of scamming, if y'all want some tips on how to get started, tap in. I got all the methods. 10K in the first 24 hours, no cap. I'm telling y'all, it's the chance of a lifetime. Don't miss out. But anyway, I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the video right there. In the comments below, I want you guys to tell me if y'all ever worked in fast food. And if you did, tell me whether you loved it or hated it. But if you guys did enjoy this video, please don't forget to leave a like. Subscribe if you are new to the channel. Comment some more video ideas you guys would like for me to do. I'm no joke running out of video ideas. Please help me. And yeah, with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.